the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. The Hamians is raining today. We hope that that will help bring some of these fires under control. The grass was brown and we had a lot of fires all over the country, so hopefully the rain would bring that under control. We've had lots of rain yesterday and we have some rain today. But Bahamians, we still have a lot of problems we need to look at. And today I have my special guest, Valentino Brown. We're looking at the issue of crime, particularly murder. That's going to be on the top of the list here because I heard about this incident that occurred on Comfort Street and Hay Street, 22-year-old, where two persons came up to him and shot him point blank. He ran away from them, but then he fell down in someone's yard and he died in that particular area. And Bahamians, this has been something. I believe the murder rate right now, as I understand it, is 32. Most of them, if not all of them, are young men. And I always tell the young men, I need to get them to become as young as I am. Because if we keep losing too many of these 22-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, what are we going to have in this country? We're going to have some serious repercussions, serious social repercussions. We don't want it to get to the point where we are so precarious that we realize we got a national crisis on our hands. Because with the rate these murders are going now, it could have all kind of negative spin-offs, even affecting national insurance. And every month, people are looking forward to their national insurance check. What if national insurance said next month they couldn't pay those checks out? You see an uproar would arise in this country because people are depending on those checks. They be at the bank. As soon as they know when that money coming out, they can be right there to collect that money. And I don't necessarily blame them. But the point is we have to find a way to assist people who are in trouble. The country is in trouble. We have too many murders in the country, 32 so far for this year. And the Commissioner of Police, the Madam Commissioner of Police, what's her name again? Shantia Knowles. Miss Shantia Knowles, Commissioner of Police, woman Commissioner of Police, has said that we need to find a way how to settle our differences peacefully. Former commissioners have said the same thing. Now, looking at the evidence, it would appear, and if you out there who have anything else you want to say to it, when I open the lines, you can do that. It would appear as if our young men, for whatever reason, are not settling their differences peacefully. We have too many shootings, Bahamians. People on motorcycles now shooting people. People in cars shooting people. You do not know when these bullets are going to hit innocent people. And innocent people have died in crossfire. One fellow sitting right in his house doing his own work. The bullet came straight through the wall and hit him in his head. Sitting at the table, doing his own work, Bahamians. He wasn't out in the street. That's how it has been going on in the country for too long now, and we don't seem to understand one life lost is one too many, as the Commissioner had said. And I believe we need to take it seriously because the Commissioner and one of her assistants, one of the senior officers, said they want assistance, whoever may have information, to give it to the police. I think we should cooperate with the police. But at the same time, I've always said the best way to help the police is to be law-abiding. There's some things that your people are involved in. You may not be able to reach them. Someone who knows about them can reach them, who may know them from birth, putting diapers on them and that kind of thing, who they will listen to. Not everyone can do this. Even Dr. Allen said the real problem is shame. People are ashamed And I remember he was on another show, and every time the question was asked, he said, it's shame that people have. They're ashamed of what it is they may have said or what it is they may have done. Even Adam in the Garden of Eden, he was ashamed. When Dr. Allen mentioned that, I say, he's right. Because he trying to hide from God. Say he was naked. What kind of crap is that? And God knew him before he knew himself. Made him. Built him. But he said he was afraid because he was naked. And he hid himself. Give me a break. People are still doing that nonsense today. Because they're ashamed. That's why. They're ashamed of what they did. What does the criminal do? After the shooting, then what? They run and hide. They didn't stay there. Stand up for what they did. No. They just ran away. And so the police are asking for assistance, those who may have any information to give it to the police, in confidence, of course, and see how we can get these murders under control. The murder rate is too high for a small country. I think we're not paying enough attention to it. And I believe I have Brother Brown here to give us some input, because Brother Brown is working in Lewis Street and the Hay Street area. And I told him I need to be safe when I come around there. Because I got to go sometime in Hay Street. I got family members in that area as well.
You're always walking.
And always walking all the time. So, I need to be safe. Now, of course, I live in Fort Wayne Castle. I always walk through Mason's Addition all the time. I've been doing it for decades.
So,
I know the people in Mason's Addition, McCullough Corner, and all those other little corners in there. So they see me, oh, that's Mr. Thompson, don't bother with him. So I am familiar with the people, and I talk to them. Sometimes I stop talking to them, have a nice conversation with them. And I try to get people to understand you could get to know people, but you don't have to get personal with them. You see all those people in Fort Wayne Castle, I know all of them, but I don't get personal with them. Now, sometimes you'll have them have a little row and some words that are not proper. I can't say those things on air. They may say, but, it doesn't go to the point where you want people just busting bullets all the time. People will have their differences of opinion. And you shouldn't get upset with a person because they disagree with what you say. You should listen. They may have a strong point of view that they believe in, and the Constitution allows them to have that strong point of view. Why can't we not settle our differences peacefully? Commissioner asked us to do that. But we like busting gun. I don't know where all this gun busting coming from. What kind of culture is that? Because in times past, men may fight, fist fight. They might throw one or two bottles at one another, hit the ground. But today now, when the fellas get vexed, they ain't got no gun on them. They go find one gun, come back to the scene and start busting off shots. And then people go scampering, like what happened at the fish fry recently, where people had to be dodging bullets. The man got vexed, went for his gun, come back, start shooting. And someone did die.
yes, sir.
So we have this kind of situation where gun busting seems to be a trend in our country. Whereas men may have a fist fight, they might even have a few words with one another, then it's over. But Bahamians, it has gotten to the point where it is so dangerous. Some people don't want to come out of their house in the evening. They are afraid to talk to the next door neighbor, and I'm trying to change that, because for communities to operate effectively, we have to get to know who is in our community. We have to be able to get on well with one another. And people seem not to understand. You can get to know people well, as I've been doing for the last 54 plus years, without any problem. Didn't know the husband, didn't know the wife, they were married. And then the two of them tell me they were husband and wife. I didn't know nothing because they no one tell me nothing. So I supposed to know. I know them a good friend with the husband, good friend with the wife. That has never been a problem in 54 years. I make sure of that vehemence, and I get to know the women. I'm very friendly with the women. I'm also very friendly with their husbands. So it's not a problem. It's how you handle people. Now, I can tell you also that there's some things they tell me I can't talk it. So what I just do, I gotta listen to them, and then when I go, I ask the Lord, and I'll say, Lord, you see, I hear these things. Please help me to. I go and go sleep.
Yes, sir.
Please
Yes,
help me to
sir.
forget it.
Yes, sir. Yes,
When
sir.
I wake up the next morning, I remember a thing.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
say, praise the Lord. I ain't got to worry about that one no more. But the thing is, there are people who have problems. They need someone to communicate with. They need someone to talk to. We will have less gun busing if we can get a semblance of order where people can communicate well with one another, to talk to one another, instead of having to kill one another. My special guest, Valentino Scrooge Brown. Welcome, Brother Brown, to Global Radio Network 99.5 FM, and thank you for coming.
It's always to be a pleasure to come on Global, Mr. Thompson. Is all, and you are a senior man in this country, and you have a lot of vast experience. You're a community-minded person, so I could never turn you down when it comes to being invited to come on Global. It's just my pleasure to be here today, sir.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the compliment. Now, I did tell you I was concerned about what prompted me to call you was when
Yes,
I
sir.
heard about the 22-year-old Bella
Yes, sir.
when he got shot, Hay Street and Comfort Street.
Yes, sir.
Give me an understanding of what it's like in the community, because I know you're working in there, Hay Street, Lewis Street, and these other side corners.
Yes, sir.
Give me an understanding of the feeling of the people living in this community and how are they interacting one with another, because I believe this may have been a situation that might have been out of the ordinary.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, basically, like you said, the community is a community-minded community because people come out. It's not like a isolated community where, houses is like 50, 100 feet away from one
Yes.
another. And, you have a lot of people who knew the young gentleman who lost his life.
Yes.
I personally know his mom. I know his father as well. I know basically his whole entire family. Uh, and like you said, it has a effect on the whole entire community.
Yes.
Because it's a part of us. Because we
That is
see the
true.
young man every day. And we communicate on different aspects. I don't hang with the younger guys, but when we're in certain positions, we talk about basketball or what's
Yes.
going on in the community when we live by the bar. So we still have a communication between us
Yes.
and the younger generation. So the community is really feeling it because that's a life, that we're never going to see again.
That's
you
right.
know, and it's hurtful to us as human beings to see this happening all around and now it's no problem. So it's devastating, Mr. Thompson.
Yeah, I would think it's very devastating because right in Fort Castle, because I know everybody in Fort Castle,
Yes, sir.
and these are community-minded people. They're
Yes,
not
sir.
troublesome people in the sense that they go out and make trouble. Now we have some people that pass through and we know who they are, and then we say, well, no, that one don't live here. We know that one,
Yes, sir.
not in here. And you have people that come into the community and they cause confusion. And then people listening and understanding not what went on and how it went on, they believe the community is like a wild, wild west.
No, it's not like that.
And it isn't like that in Fort Castle either, because those people are extremely peaceful. They want to live their lives quietly, and they get on well with one another. Just a few in there who might be a little loud, and
Yes,
then
sir.
professor got to go in there and talk to them. Now, listen, y'all, just calm this down a bit. And they will respect what I say to them. They don't row with me. They don't make noise or
Because they
anything like
respect
that
you.
because they respect
They
what I
respect
say.
you. They respect you, sir.
And I appreciate that. So I don't get into any rowing session with anyone. And like I say, a lot of people will tell you things of a personal nature. You can't discuss that. You have to leave that, let that die. But at the same time, you want to have good community
Dialogue.
relationship, dialogue.
That's
Because I
very
talk to the
important.
young men all the time.
That's very important, Mr.
It's
Thompson.
very important.
Very
Yes.
important.
And I think in conversation with people, they're going to look to see if they can trust you.
Yes, sir.
All right. And I believe the community people looking for persons who they could trust, who they could rely on, who could they depend on.
That is key.
And that's key in any given community.
Yes, sir.
So this is why we need to build strong working relationships. And even though people may have their differences of opinion, different views, different ideas, it is good when people bring those ideas together in an environment where you can discuss them, you can talk to them, see what good can happen in the community
Yes, sir.
itself. And I think in that way, we can move the community forward without having to have political polarization. Yes, people may have their views, they may belong to political parties and so on. I always use the example of St. Barnabas Church in BDC. You go to St. Barnabas Church Sunday morning, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And the only reason why I talk about St. Barnabas, I always listen to their pastor.
Yes, sir.
I think it was Pastor Tynes who was there.
Okay.
And I used to hear him, he could preach good now.
Hmm.
And I always attract to his preaching. And so when I use an example with church and business, I always run to St. Barnabas Church. And I hope the people are not thinking that I'm trying to say anything just because it's St. Barnabas Church. That just comes to mind because I was so accustomed to listening to him. But it could easily apply to any other church, a Baptist church, a Catholic church, an Adventist church, a Presbyterian church. The principle is the same. One person, member of the church, also a BTC member. But they never get it all mixed up.
Hmm.
They know their job at BTC, they know their job at the church. And they go there, they worship, they meet, they discuss, and they go about their business.
Mm.
Why can't we not have the same thing done in a community? People have jobs, people have different churches, etc., all in the same community. When it comes to choosing a particular personality, and I think this is where we run into problems. Why is it that we allow, because see, the party itself got to put up a candidate, don't forget that. The party itself has to put up a candidate in a given community. Why is it then that people have this vexing spirit? Because this particular person is in that particular party or affiliated with that particular party, and people hold these grudges in for years. Why do you think that is?
Tribalism. That's all it is, Mr. Thompson. It's tribalism. We don't understand the importance of doing unto others as your others do unto
As
you.
you do unto you, yeah.
And that right there separating us as a country. And we have all the tools to deal with some of the issues in our
Yes,
country.
Yes.
But the problem is, if just say if the Free National Movement was to get in and you a good community-minded person,
Yes.
good with the community, right? Good with the individuals. You have some ideas that you're being done already, working on,
yes.
manifesting, you to
Right.
get it on the ground. Now you just need some assistance where it can benefit the community. Just say you have an idea, or say you can have 20 people to do small business in the community.
Yes.
The F&M comes in, all right? You are not a F&M, you're not a PLP.
Right.
So you're not in a circle. Now you're impactful in the community where everyone in the community respect you, but you're a threat. See, you're a threat. I don't know how they think you're a threat, but you're a threat.
I've heard that, yes.
You're a threat. So they respect you, but you're a threat because you're not a part of their system, and maybe they cannot control you. So now you are a threat and you're an enemy, even though you might be the right man
To perform the job.
to get the job done.
Get the job done, yes.
You understand?
Right.
So that individual who is either the member of parliament or someone who is a part of the party, he has a problem with you. And because he has a problem with you, he has stopped the progress of hundreds of people in the community that you could help change around, working with them to
Yes.
better the country. And that's the problem right there. So,
Okay, I'm not going to disagree with that because I've seen hardcore evidence of it
yes, sir.
over and repeatedly. Now, I believe the best way to do that is look at Article 24.1 of your Constitution, where it talks and gives the people
Yes, sir.
the authority to protect their interests.
Yes,
now, if the people in the constituency or the community believe that they have an interest to protect in reducing crime, then they have to take the necessary action that is essential
Mm.
for the progress of themselves, their family members, their loved ones who live in that community.
Yes, sir.
There's nothing stopping people in a given community
Mm.
from protecting their own interests. The Constitution allows for that.
Yes.
organizing themselves to do what? For the protection of their interests. And the
Yes.
word interest is plural, more than one interest.
Yes, sir.
We don't have enough people that are doing that.
Yes, sir.
So we run into problems
Yes, sir.
because they're just waiting on one or two people. I told some people I'm working on a national problem.
Yes, sir.
That one can get fixed,
Yes, sir.
whether these fellas assist or not.
Mhm.
You know why it's going to get fixed? Because we understand the power of the Constitution of this country.
Yes.
There's a lot of power in that document.
Mm.
And I tell people that all the time. Things Brother Brown being used yet.
Yes.
But we may have to take some unusual
Steps.
constitutional authority, put it in place, which we've never done before, to get some things done
Done.
in this country
Yes.
before it's all over.
Yes. Yes.
I believe that Bahamian people are beginning to look at that very seriously and say, you know something? We got to make some changes. We got to bring things around because here we are in a given community and we're just waiting. And crime is raging in the areas where you have the large number of people
People living.
living. And the standard of living is not the highest. In fact, you got people scrapping just from paycheck to paycheck. You have people who are scrapping day in and day out to see if they could put food on the table. And sometimes they got to decide, I can't pay the rent today. I got to pay it maybe next week or next month. But they are confronted with problems, issues that affect them, and the pressure seems to be on the small, average person in a given community,
Yes, sir.
where he's being pressed in on every side.
Yes,
And
sir.
some other fellas who owe all kind of money ain't getting no pressure. They're just getting a buy.
Yes, sir.
So it makes people believe, well, where's the justice? Where's the fair play?
There's none.
Well, they will come to the conclusion there is none.
That's why we are retaliation.
And
Retaliation.
then I'm glad you mentioned about the retaliation because I was just coming to that. The point is, when people see, and see scripture backs that up, when sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, quickly, it is set in the hearts of the sons of men to continue to do evil because the fellas say, well, y'all got caught. I can set up my own court. That's what it comes down to. You frustrate people. The Constitution says no man, woman, or child shall ever have their lives frustrated by deprivation, being deprived of good roads, being deprived of justice. You had some cases where some names were brought forth, some recent ones, and some people still waiting more than 5 years on
Mhm.
some of these murder cases.
Yes.
And then you ask yourself, well, how did that get like that?
And their backlog like 20 years, sir. They're not
20
gonna,
years is too long.
and they say, well, if you listen to the Chief Justice and person who talk about the cost, they'll tell you, say they have cases backlog right now, could go back to 10 years, but I'm saying 20 or even 30, because with 100 murders per year, sir, it's just impossible for us to be able to seek justice in the country. It's impossible. It's impossible. With 100 a year. I think being a part of the advisory board under Dr. David Allen and Kiva
Yes.
Bedell, I meet up there regularly on a monthly basis, non-paid consultant,
Yes.
and I use the information. And they were talking about how they only can prosecute about 17, 18 murder cases per year in the country. Now you think about that. Think about that. 18 murder cases we only could put before the Supreme Court, right? And we have 100 murders per year. And then we have cases going back 10, 15 years where have not even went to court.
Went to court.
And then we
yes.
have rapes, armed robbery, assault,
Let's just add more.
marijuana possession,
Yes.
and we only have a few courts. And that ain't even, Mr. Thompson, that ain't even the people on bail for murder. And then that's the strange part about it. We wonder why people get bail for when they do serious crimes in the country,
Yes.
serious murders, because
Yeah.
the prison cannot hold all of these individuals every year. The prison have to make space for inmates every month. every month because we have 100 murders per year. We have people getting charged for armed robbery, people getting charged for all these cases. What prison is going to hold all of these individuals getting charged for these crimes? So the court has no choice because you have to put people before the court in reasonable time.
Yes.
The court has no choice but to give people bail, even though the court don't want to. They have to. You know why? Because when they set up who get charged with murder, so
Yes.
the police are gonna pick somebody up who did murder in 2021. Now they're gonna get charged. Now they need to go to prison. When they get remanded to prison, when they reach the prison, they have to find a way to get this inmate who just get charged for murder probably 1 year ago. They need to get him out, so they put an anklet bracelet and they let him right back in the community. You see what he faced with?
I got a couple of questions
Go
I
ahead,
want to
sir.
ask you. This ankle bracelet, I can start with that
Go ahead,
one,
sir.
then I can deal with the other
It's a bunch of
part.
crap. It's a bunch of crap.
The ankle bracelet. Now, I've seen some
Mm-hmm.
funny things nearby where I am,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm concerned about that. What is the purpose of putting an ankle bracelet on someone?
Well, I mean, I thought when you put an anklet bracelet, you're supposed to be at home
Right.
or in the proximity of your yard.
Yes.
I thought if you're charged with a serious crime, that murder, that you
Yes.
shouldn't be allowed to roam the streets. How
Exactly.
Mr. Thompson or Vincent can walk the streets.
Yes.
I feel that you're under restriction until your case is over. That and you are at risk because there's retaliation. So
There
the
is
court
tremendous
should,
retaliation.
unless you waken and you get a letter from the court, or if you need to travel or something like that, you could write this letter if you're insincere, because a lot of people be innocent as well.
Yes.
But based on the anklet bracelet, you should be
I
home.
heard one report where the fella put it on the cat,
Yes, of course. And he could. So
and he was elsewhere.
guys are creative, so you give them time, so they'll come up with a way. They'd find a way. Trust me, they'd find a way. That's why they can't stop drugs from coming to prison. That's why they can't stop phones from coming to prison. Okay, you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah,
As much
yeah.
prison officers, and prison's supposed to be the most protected place. You say do the
Supposed to
time,
be
spend the
secure.
time.
Yes.
But hey, they're selling drugs up there. They having phones that sell what is be selling BTC. They have minutes. And they raid the prison on a regular basis, and yet still marijuana, cocaine, crime going on. So you
In the
understand?
prison.
Sir? All right.
I think I got to
Go
go
ahead,
to a
Mr.
break.
Thompson.
I got to go to a break now. But I'm coming back to some other questions that I want to ask you. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. My special guest, Valentino Scrooge Brown. We're talking about crime, payments, particularly murder. And we was questioning him about the ankle bracelet. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break. In the Commonwealth Bahamas, yes, we have our share of problems, but I believe we can resolve these problems. But we're going to have a tough fight because Bahamians, we're losing too many of our young men in violent activity. We had one that lost his life, 22 years old, um, Comfort Street and Hay Street, right in the heart of Bain and Grantstown. And Bahamians, these things have negative impact on the lives of not only the family itself, but other surrounding families. And even it could go even further than that. It can have serious implications for the nation because we are said to have over 100 murders every year. Now, something has to be done about that. If we're going to have 17 to 18 murder cases heard within 1 year, that's a very serious matter. That means you got a whole army of cases, people who are accused of committing murder for that particular year. Those cases never come before the court. And the cases before them, the year before, hasn't come before the court because you only had 17 or 18 for that previous year. What are we going to do about that, Bahamians? We have to think seriously. We have to talk strongly to those who are given the authority to run this place because lives need to be preserved. As the commissioner said, one life lost is one too many. And I agree with that. And like I said, losing our young men, most of them are young men. You may have a few young women in there as well. But basically, you will find that it is young men who are fighting this situation on the streets, out in the open, Bahamians. How did we get like this? How is it that we've allowed this to happen? Like it's just a common thing. You do not know when you're going to get hit with a stray bullet.
No, you don't.
And people like, when you get as young as I am, sometimes you got to walk from place to place.
That's why you might get away, Mr. Thompson. You get a little bit of gray on your head. You look young like me and the producer. You might pick up a stray.
Boy, listen.
So be thankful for that gray.
I'm thankful for being alive. But I want the other fellas to get as young as I am.
Yes, sir.
Too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You see, but it's a scary situation.
Yes, sir.
And you don't know when something is going to happen.
Yes, sir.
I think my producer has a tape. What's his name again?
JJ.
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 Yeah. We have a tape from his sister. And we're going to play that and hear what she has to say in relation to this murder on Comfort Street and Hay Street. Go ahead, Mr. Producer.
Yeah, I instantly broke down because I wasn't expecting him to be out. I feel by his mouth, and he came out his mouth, and I placed my hand on his head. I covered his head, and I leaned over in his ears, and I said a prayer. And I put my hand back by his nose, and that's when I feel this this air rush from his nose. So like I said, that probably was his last breath. Then when the EMT persons came, they said he did not know no pulse, so I just walked off. His name was Jamal Makeup. We used to call him JJ. He was junior. And he was a humble person, always smiling. We lived together for 24 years, and I can't remember one time we even had an argument. It's unbelievable. It's hurtful.
Well, that's very interesting. But Brown, let me let you comment on it, and then I'll comment on it after. Go ahead.
I'd just like to say this, what you're saying happening, it's just a spin cycle, Let me just give you an example. The same gentleman, JJ, I know him as a young individual. I watch him grow up from me as a little baby.
Yeah.
And I can't say nothing bad about nobody because I had my past just like all these young gentlemen had their past because I was misguided until I find my way.
Yeah.
Right. So, problematic child, few problems, just like many other young men in the community. How he died, just like you said, can't be just young man just feel shame.
Yeah, the shame is there. There's no doubt about that.
Just go to a friend or enemy and say, "Man, brother, I was wrong."
Yeah.
This is the hardest thing for young people to do. The reason I'm living today, Mr. Thompson, is because I was able to apologize to some of my other peers. When I saw them, I approached them. And that one apology got us to settle the differences.
Yes.
2 years ago, and condolences to the whole entire family of JJ, and also to many of the other victims who have died this year from violent crimes, and many in the past. I want to send my condolences to all the families.
Yes.
2 years prior, there was a next young man killed right on that street. Him and JJ used to hang together, named Seth. I know his mom too, Maria. And him and JJ was together. And JJ got away when the guys killed Seth in the same spot, Mr. Thompson.
Same spot. Yeah, I remember that.
Same spot.
Incident,
two friends, you know, these are same two
friends.
friends, two good friends, and two of them get killed in the same spot.
Jesus, Lord have mercy.
One got killed a year and a half ago, and JJ ended up in the same spot.
Yeah, when I heard of the incident, I reflected about the incident occurred before, not
Yes.
too long ago, in the same spot, same location, Comfort Street and Hay Street. Yes, I remember that.
And he has,
quite well.
and JJ has very good family members. You understand? So no one's perfect in these inner city communities because, like I said, the community itself has deteriorated. Where people just they just doing their own thing. People, all right, it's like this, Mr. Thompson. If you ask any young guy out there or female what they want to do in life, they can't answer you.
Okay.
So for this, the politicians, the pastors, and anyone out there, listen what I'm saying to you. If you ask them what their ambition is, they do not know. The most ambition out there for young guys is to sell drugs. This is the option for one of the richest Western Hemisphere in the world.
Yes.
The number one option for young people in the inner city community is to sell drugs.
That is a serious issue.
And for the young females, I'm not going to say it.
No,
and all the young gentlemen who are getting killed, Mr. Thompson, they came from a woman.
Of course they did.
So it should tell you what is going on in our society. But if you ask any young guy what they want to do, they ain't talking about no police, they ain't talking about no defense force officers, they ain't talking about being no lawyer, they ain't talking about being no fisherman, they ain't talking about being no farmer. They don't have no clue.
Yes.
But I bet you this. Those same young guys, if they get upset, they have a job.
Yes.
They have a job. Because the only thing they can do is use their frustration when they get angry. They resolve the violence. In fact, our whole entire, the Bahamas, is a violent nation right now. So based on the fact that we neglect it for the 52 years or 54 years you talked about, we have neglect society. And that's what is happening. It's boiled up to a point now. So it's boiled up. It's boiled up now where people just don't have no future. They don't have no vision. And they're looking for any way out. And their way out is what they've been seeing from their chat, what they've been seeing from the children, what they're seeing in the streets. And that's what they're doing right now.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Well, we have very serious problems. That's why I invited you to come and to talk about this today, because and the lines are open 326-0271, 326-0272-813-0271. Because Bahamians, we just can't keep sitting back and allowing more than 100 murders to occur every year. That doesn't make any sense at all. We're losing too many lives. That's point number one. The court with 17 to 18 cases being heard within a year.
Yes, sir.
That is a travesty.
Yes, sir.
We have to find a way to deal with it. And it's the duty of those who've been elected and appointed to deal with these issues. This is why I get upset a lot of times when I see the high level of frustration among the majority of your people. And so sometimes when I see that high level of frustration, I have to handle it very cautiously because this is all they have seen. This is all they know. They don't know any better.
They don't know nothing better.
They've never experienced anything better.
So you're a smart man, not to cut you off. That's why you say, when you talk to them, you don't get in their business.
No, I don't get in their business.
You understand? Because they could get agitated very quickly, even though you could tell them something what is right. You tell them, say, look here, the iron hot. Don't touch the iron. You tell them what's right. They get mad with you.
They get mad.
That's how
at you,
serious
yes.
society has changed.
Yes.
What you telling people is right now is actually wrong. That's how society
That's
goes.
how
That's
society-
that's
that's
when we neglect. That's
That-
that's what happens. So
That is a challenge that we have because we have neglected it so much. And people are down in the pits. And no one has really reached out to help them to get out of it. They don't know how to get out. No one has come along to help them, to stand beside them and help them come up out of that pit.
yes, sir.
And so one has to exercise caution and restraint, particularly when you're talking with our young men in the community, because they could easily flare up. They could easily be agitated.
Yes,
so
sir.
I think this is something we have to look at very seriously. But Bahamians out there, it is no excuse for us to sit back and do nothing. Doing nothing only aggravates the problem. There are some of you who can assist in more than one way. One may assist one way, another one assists another way.
Yes,
now,
sir.
with plenty of you, and I've seen this, you get into people's business too much. That causes problems. You know how many people will talk to me and they'll tell me these things,
And you won't tell nobody.
but I can't tell nobody.
Yes, because you cause more problem.
It could cause more problems. I get that feedback from a lot of people all the time. And I go into these communities and I talk to these people, and basically you get that feedback. People are just too nosy, get into people's private, personal affairs. Like I've said, in my experiences for 54 years plus, I've known husbands and wives, didn't know they were married. Very friendly with the husband, very friendly with the wife. But they ain't tell me nothing, so how you supposed to know? So there's a point where we have to understand, separate your relationship, and at the same time, you do not get into matters of a personal nature.
Yes, sir.
You leave that alone,
Yes, sir.
okay? Community issues, yes. Constituency issues, yes. Island issues, yes. But those personal things are extremely sensitive, and
Yes,
one has
sir.
to be very, very careful how you handle it. So what I'm saying, Bahamians, is we need to do our part because we just can't sit back. And this is happening where you have the largest group of people, where shootings, robberies, rapes, we got to talk about rape, Mr. Brother Brown,
Yes, sir.
because of ways of disturbing things today.
But the officers, officials.
Yes.
Yes.
And what has happened to us? I mean, how we get like this? We are raping people now frequently. Where does this come from? And we're killing people frequently. Where did that come from? So that's a double whammy on the community. Then you have armed robberies and a lot of other things happening. So people just draw into shell. They can't trust nobody. They don't know who to communicate with. They don't know who to talk to.
Mhm.
And so they draw into shell. And when the community draws into shell like that, it is very, very difficult to maneuver in circumstances like that because people don't trust no one.
If you take a look at Haiti, Mr. Thompson, that's a prime example. What's
Yes.
happening now?
Yes.
That's a prime. The government has no hold on it. The France and those US and stuff like that, they scared to put their troops in there because the
I
minds of the
noticed that.
people have diminished and they have lost their way. And we are headed like that right now in this country.
Yes. Because even now you got Bahamas, they're having flights into Haiti. And I said to myself, well, Haiti doesn't have a stable government. So why are we having flights coming out of Haiti? Are they returning? I got to get Tracy Strawn on my show. I got to call him again, see if I can get him so I can have a conversation with him. Hold on, caller, don't go nowhere. The point is we have a problem where some places are very unstable. The gang rule. Whoever got the gun today in charge. Someone snatched the gun away from him, then he's in charge.
Mhm.
Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, good afternoon, Professor.
Hey, what's happening, man?
Okay, and good afternoon to your guest.
Yeah, brother.
And good
Brown.
afternoon, Bahamas.
Yes.
Well,
good afternoon.
your guest is a teacher. He teach youth, right?
I do.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I want you to check out. I can say, but talk about it today. But I want you to check out Mike Tyson when he was in prison, he do an interview with Mr. White Man. What do you mean, Mr. King?
Yeah.
Mr. King,
Yes,
okay.
that's awesome for teachers, and I can talk about it today. Well, we only got one Bahamas, and
Yes,
some
we
of us,
do.
some of us going too far. We got to get these children in school, get them in them school ages, and how like when the NBA is nowadays grab, they say, I want that one. We got to get them in these school ages, and when these children come to school, we got to make sure they're in the BTI. We got to make sure our Bahamian children got 3 trades. I ain't care. And if you got money, you can send your children to college. We ain't talking to you. But make sure these children got 3 trades. And I know we too far gone, but some are too far gone. But we got to go back into school. Make sure these children got 3 trades when they come out of these schools.
Caller, you need to explain what you mean
So
by
far
too far
gone.
gone.
Oh, yeah, that.
Yeah, but some are, hey.
Clarify that for
Oh,
me.
yeah,
so I
that,
can-
oh, yeah,
In the Bible says you see why they walk into Israel 40 days. Some of them are too far gone. They let them die out. But it's real.
It's
Some
real,
of us
it's
we
real.
can't help.
It's
Some
real.
of us we can't help. But
Finish.
listen, we could help the young one.
Yes.
We don't.
Right.
Why you think people eat different car and different things? Them other country, they fighting for the people.
Yes.
Go come out of school. I want you to be with my company. And we got to start teaching your children. Make sure, and parents, make sure your child got 3 trades of making money, and he can learn how to swim. I don't know why, but that's what them Arab or whatever they do. They throw them trade. Make sure they can swim and 3 trade of making money. And I can say this, tell my boy, tell it tired. Phone is my time. Come on. That's what I can say. My boy, you teach too. You could get online. Y'all have a blessed day here.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
for your
Yes, sir.
contribution. Brother
Yes,
Brown?
The gentleman just now, he said a moodful.
Yes, you did.
And like he said, if we look at the African leader now, the young African leader in one part of Africa, what's the name?
Bikini Pascal?
Look what he's doing. Look what he's
But I
doing.
heard some very wonderful things. He got 22 African nations on the gold standard.
Yes, and look what he's doing to his nation. He
Yes.
is allowing the citizens. He's giving them scholarships.
Yes.
You have a creative idea. He is pushing you forward.
Yes.
He's changing the concept of his country.
Yes.
He's creating wealth, and once wealth is created, okay, it will pass down. Look at these inner city community. You don't want to even get a dime. So what you expect? What Mr. We go when this, Mr. Thompson? Everyone
can.
pour back when
Yeah.
Sir Lyndon there was there as the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. He made a lot of millionaires,
Yes.
right, in specific parts of the country. Now,
That's correct.
people, we ain't even get 5 cents.
No, we ain't got nothing.
Everyone broke, ain't nothing happening.
Yeah, that's
So
correct.
it's nothing trickling down. So we are balled up in there, and the guys talking about trades and stuff like this is what we need. We need investment, small business investment directly in the
Yes, we do.
community.
Right,
This is what we need to go. Agriculture, investment inside the inner city community.
Yes.
Building homes on the family island and stuff like that. That's what we need. So.
Yes.
Giving people like an opportunity to rent or own, giving us an option, the $700 keys for BMs to pick an option to go and live on one of these islands, as long as the island is developed with all the infrastructure, the
Right.
training centers, the hospitals, they make sure that they have job opportunities, tourist investment, so that the individuals can actually have a future in these islands. We need options, so we can't be cooped up in Nassau. Nassau is 21/7. We have close to 300,000 people living here. We're too congested,
The number is very big.
it's too congested. We have 700 islands, 700 kids. There's so much options out there. We could open so many factories and get so many of these young kids here trained properly,
Right.
and let them have an option to pick where they want to go live and what field they like to go into. That's what we need, sir.
So we don't have the standard where your national leaders have something where you can open up the country and lead the way, because leaders are supposed to lead, right?
Yes, sir.
With the people on the ground in their local communities where they can have participation. Because I said, well, when you look at, say, Centerville, Fort Wayne Castle is one area, and some things are happening up there now. Mason's Addition is another area. But some problems is peculiar to Fort Wayne Castle and not peculiar to Mason's Addition.
Yes, sir.
And vice versa.
Yes.
And you go further south, you're seeing these things. It doesn't seem as if we're getting on the ground where the people themselves are to be involved. Article 24, 1 again, I go back to that, where we get the people interested on the ground in their own communities. This will strengthen the community, where they protect the community, where they protect where they live. Who is better able to protect than them? They're right there.
Yes.
They've been there for 10 years, 15 years, and more. So we have to get them involved so that these communities can be safe.
Yes, sir.
We won't have to have all this criminal activity, because right now they're wandering from place to place to look to do something. Now, getting back to the ankle bracelet, I just
Go
want
ahead,
to say
sir.
something on that. As far as you know, the ankle bracelets were designed to do what?
I know the ankle bracelet was designed to make sure monitor people so that the police would know exactly where they are, to make sure that they are not involved in illegal activity, and also to protect the general public from those
Okay.
individuals charged with serious crimes.
Well, I can say when I see them in my area with these ankle bracelets,
Mm.
I know protection for me.
It's fascinating.
That's a fashion, yeah. That's like wearing something new. Because why do they not confine them to their
Thank you.
place where they live? That I would thought they would have done that.
It would save them as well, Mr. Thompson.
Yes, it would.
Because they're putting everyone else's life in danger. Because
I know a relative of mine had to duck down low when the relative saw a particular person with the ankle bracelet standing right next to that individual to the shop or to the restaurant where that member was, and just had to calmly move out of there.
mm.
Because sometimes you have situations where people may be looking for a particular personality
Uh-huh.
and they see someone who may look like that particular individual,
And they
and
lay
then
off
all of a sudden they start shooting bullets.
and they lay off it.
Right. So if they're not confining them to the place where they ought to live, because they're going all over the place.
And you're going to the nightclub, maybe me and Mr. Thompson going to chill. After
Exactly.
we go hard, we
You
will
want to
drink
have a
and get
chill
a
out for
cold
that
one.
evening, cold
I
one,
need some chicken
and you
wings.
want some chicken wings,
But this
and you
guy
want to
out there
relax
who-
yourself.
Who at risk doing foolishness. He
He
won't
right
come.
there.
He won't come because he sees the crowd. We having fun. We ain't
Right.
got no one looking for us. But he like what we have, so he won't come get himself involved in our atmosphere because it's a crowd.
Exactly. because
Now
of
when
that.
he come, he
Every-
bring destruction.
Well, it changes the whole place. Same thing happened at Fish Fry. And then the vendors at Fish Fry had to say how safe it is out there. Now, I'm not knocking the vendors for the incident that occurred. I cannot
Slackness.
do that.
I go there.
But, people don't want to get shot at because you don't know what could happen at any given time.
Yes, sir.
While I agree the place ought to be safe, and I understand the vendors trying to protect their interests, but you don't want to be caught in a situation because someone did die.
Yes.
It could have been more.
Yes.
So when you have these kind of situations, you are reluctant to go there because you're not sure when, you don't know when, you get no warning. It just breaks out, violence breaks out, and you have problems. Now the vendors have to make their money. I don't have a problem with that. But then I want to be safe too when I go there.
Yes.
You see? So a way has got to be found to be able to deal with these issues because we can't keep people cooped up in their homes
No, sir.
because they're afraid.
That's not living.
That's not living at all.
You know what's
That's
happening?
not living at all.
You know what's the wake all week? You said law-abiding citizen. You trying to tell me you can't go?
You can't go out to relax yourself.
So what
in
sense
a
of waking and having
restaurant.
all this money in your pocket for?
It doesn't make
They
sense.
can't walk down by half us. They
You
go buy
can't.
one tennis and let me say, let me
You
go.
can't.
Huh?
You can't.
Come on,
can't.
man, guys.
Something's wrong with that.
And you know what? Everyone's saying Nassau is boring now because we kill everything. Everywhere we go, we shoot at the place. And this is all goes back to the fact that you have 54 years. So how much is this?
Yes.
54 years of neglect?
Yes.
This all would build up. I was a part of it. So now the next generation is a part of it.
Yes.
And notice, and Mr. Thompson, when we say 100 murders, we get it completely wrong too, See, I was a guy who been in this field, and I do my own studies. No one teach me these things. I just read. Let me show you how this go. We have 100 murders. How many murder scenes that was involved in this 100 murders are the people get shot on the side? Are those individuals? Do you know sometimes those people who get shot on the side who they don't mention dies later on?
But I'm glad you mentioned that.
So it don't necessarily be 100 murders. You understand what I'm telling
I
you?
agree with you, yeah.
Some people die 2 years later, 3 years later, but they died of complications of gunshot.
Of gunshot,
But they would
yeah.
never call it
But then we call
murder
it murder.
because the person did not die on the scene. So
On
if
the
we
scene.
look at it, if we look
You-
at it and think about this, Mr. Thompson, the police is take over 300 to 400 guns off the streets every year.
Yes.
How many lives they saving besides the 100 murders? Listen, let me show how serious this is. Think about this, general public. The police takes about 400 firearms off the streets every year.
Yes.
How many lives do you think they save when they take these 400 guns off the streets? Just do a great. Let's say if we go by the 100, or there's 400 guns they take off the streets, they save 100 lives. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying, right?
I follow you.
Okay, then.
I follow you quite well.
Okay.
Yeah. This is Professor Sidney McGarter, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. Express yourself. The lines are open 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-0271. Bahamians, what are you going to do about murder? What are you going to do about these strangulations and the suicide? I haven't even talked about suicide yet.
That's
What's
pressure.
causing this suicide?
Pressure.
And the Constitution says no man, woman, or child shall ever have their lives what? Frustrated by deprivation. We're going to come back to that when we come off of this break. This is Professor Sidney McGarter, Walter Thompson, my special guest, Brother Valentino Brown. He is well versed in what he's doing, and he's had some experiences and stuff, but he's helping to rebuild the community where he's in now. And that is a good thing. We have to work along with each other to help one another. I'm working hard to build in my community where I live in Fort and Castle. Okay, this is Professor Sidney McGarter, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney McGarter, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. The lines are open 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-0271. We're discussing the issue of crime, and I'm delighted to have my special guest, Valentino Scrooge Brown.
Pleasure.
And he is giving some. I got a number of questions I got to
Go
ask
ahead,
for
sir.
him.
I'm ready.
And I know he is well able because he works on the ground. He's had some experiences that can be very helpful to people who are involved in wrong activities. And I think he's doing his best with his team to assist in that regard.
Yes, sir.
Brother Brown,
Yes, sir.
we
Mr.
got
Thompson.
this problem now that I keep hearing about them sex things now.
What do you mean? Sexually transmitted disease?
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
What is going on with our people? In addition to that, we have molestation of children.
Oh,
We have rapes on women. And I just couldn't believe my ears. I was listening to the news today. I said, where all this come from?
you said it. 54 years. People being getting rich on the outside of the circle,
Yes.
and they've been using and manipulating the people in the country for their self-gain, and they've been doing it for so long that they leave the people in these communities now. Okay, now these people are indecisive. The young people one thing. The abandoned houses that are in these communities, they are sex houses for young girls and young boys who are going from one partner to the next. There are a lot of sissyism going on, Mr. Thomas, excuse me, we say it on global. There are a lot of sissyism going on between females changing multiple partners. You know, if you stay with one partner, I ain't worrying about your sex or whatever you're dealing with. You stay with your one partner. But when you're going from one person to the next, what this person, you don't know what this person of. I might be
You
straight.
don't know.
You don't know what the next person of. Then you're going to the next person when you break up with this person. Then you're going to the next person when you break up. Then you're going to then you're going back to your former partner when you all make
Right.
back up. Yeah, you understand? That's what's going on in our country. There's no education. There's no sex education going on in our country to tell you about the consequences.
Of these actions.
Sex is dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Sex is dangerous. Sex ain't nothing you to go play around with. Go to the hospital right now. Huh? I just been to get my test. I just been to get my AIDS test, sir.
Yes.
Because I did some stuff with some females and I had to go check myself.
I don't blame you.
You know, because at the same time they're talking about these sexually transmitted diseases. So I went and get my check. I went and get it checked. Myself checked out. Now I'm so happy that I get checked. Now I'm gonna be 150% more careful.
I don't blame you.
You understand? Because you don't know who was who. And then this is the most dangerous thing. We talking about murders with gun. What about females and males out there who are sexually transmitted disease? I'm not discriminating. I'm not discriminating. I am not discriminating because I'm not that type. But it is what it is. You have people out there who have sexually transmitted diseases and they want to hurt people out there.
Right.
So they're going around giving male and females giving this to mad. Boy, listen to me, Mr. Thompson, let me give you a mouthful quick. If girls know you're married and you go to the nightclub and they get the kaboom, or the nigga get the kaboom, they just intentionally doing this. They don't have no respect for marriage. And if you fool enough, if you're married, or if you have a boyfriend and girlfriend, and you're foolish enough to be around these nightclub, seeing these girls and boys you don't know nothing about,
Yes.
you could do them yourself and you could cry later.
Yes.
That's what's going on. No education, so we ain't teaching our kids in the school about sex, about the dangers. We're not teaching them about marriage. Even if you was to teach them about boyfriend and girlfriend, grooming yourself and having a future.
Exactly.
We ain't teaching them nothing. So they're seeing what their mothers do or what their daddies do, what other people doing, or they hear in the neighborhood. They live in these one-bedroom houses. So the kids, them at an early age, seeing their mothers and fathers with multiple women, multiple men, and they getting programmed. So when they reach this age, and when they reach the age of 9, 10, girls having sex, boys having sex, man, we all mess right up, so.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
We all mess right up, so. We mess up, Mr. Thompson, we mess right up. Is Mr. Thompson? The little girls, them, and the little boys, them, is be in the abandoned houses, and they having orgies. And none of them using no protection, Mr. Thompson. And the only people who could stop this is people like me and you. Once we get the resources, we could do these things, put these
Of
things
course
in
we
place,
can.
put monitoring system to check areas. But until then, ain't nothing happening.
Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, we say, Professor.
Hey, what's happening, man? We're
Yeah,
talking
everything
about
is.
crime today. I have Valentino Brown.
Yeah.
He's on the show today, and he has a lot of expertise in these
Yeah.
troublesome areas. I
Yeah, man.
invite
I
him to
listen
come
to them
on to
out.
talk. Go ahead,
Yeah,
caller.
he's talking the truth, man. Nothing but the truth, boy. Hey, right. That's why I tell you, Professor, the other day, it's the small things with hurting us,
Yeah,
See,
I would agree with you.
we can't jump to the big thing it's a big problem if we don't deal with the
The
small
small
problem.
problem.
Yes,
See,
sir.
in this country,
But he
the
just
small
told
thing,
me
and
some very interesting things about the little children. I mean, when I
Professor,
yeah, but let me let you finish, then I'll speak. Go ahead.
yeah, Professor, man, that means these kids, I mean, see, you got to realize this. The parents, them is young. Man, I see some parents, them just as old as me nowadays. They grown now.
35 years old, Mr. Thompson,
I thought,
grandmothers.
Right now.
Right now, Mr. Thompson.
35-year-old grandmother?
Right now, talk.
Oh, for crying out loud.
what you
Caller,
mean,
caller,
too?
tell him, caller. Go ahead. Go
Yes,
ahead.
man. What you mean? Full model.
How could you
Man,
be
I see these
grandmother
girls, them,
35?
If you have the children around 13, 14, and
yeah, that's some of
Lord
the
have
babies.
mercy.
This is a good professor. When I used to go to school, when I went to Aquinas College, or I call it, I don't need to be ashamed because right now a lot of the girls them was in my class had baby. They already had baby in grade 11.
Okay.
You understand? And the thing with the professor, what happening now these days, the parents are so young, them and their daughters, them and everyone is
in the nightclub.
friends.
And the nightclub.
They friends. So the daughter's the one who paying the bill. So how the mommy can make noise and the daughter paying the bill? The 18-year-old, 17-year-old paying the bill. They going rusty man coming laying up in the house. And she, you understand, bro?
Oh Lord.
But hey, this is a serious
Mr.
thing.
Thompson, you open a can of soup.
Yeah, he
And
opened
the
up one
next
to
thing
count
is
of
too,
soup.
is these young boys them. They don't even want wife.
See?
And then
Listen.
you know why? Because just because a lot of these parents out there get these same little boys growing up soft. Don't mind them holding gun and everything and all that. They soft. They don't know how to wash dishes. They don't know how to clean. They don't know how to do nothing. And then these little girls see them dress up and little Tommy shaking thing and all that. They believe they get a prize, and they ain't realizing they ain't getting nothing but a bunch of womanish niggas them who
Yes.
only get just one ride woman car and just look pretty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, because we have a serious thing and boy, he talking the truth, nothing but the truth. And we get so much going around committee and Ace out there right now, Doc can tell me, man, but they ranking out there and they ain't asking for no condom. These young man, I back in the professor, I had the ride from Nice Vicky way out, almost way out in the middle part of the west to go look for
To get on gun, no?
What? These days the time now, these girls to me asking for nothing old, from young shrub to old, even older women who have common sense ain't asking for no condom.
Honestly speaking.
I mean, I don't know what's going on. I mean, they tell them AIDS thing going on. I mean, they say that's going on because they ain't get. I thought, and these young girls to me, they ain't get. They will go 4, 5, 6 guy one day with no condom.
Listen, Mr. Thompson, that's what's going on, Mr. Thompson.
But that's why I'm listening.
Okay, hey. Go
Because
ahead.
I had been shielded
Sorry,
from so
caller.
much of this.
Sorry,
Go
you
ahead,
make me laugh.
caller.
Caller, you make me laugh so much, man. Sorry, man.
Yeah, man. And the parents them know what's going on. You know, the parents them won't even. If the parents them know what's going on, the parents them won't even tell them, listen, because if you're doing wrong, still use your condom.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you can't stop them, but you can protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then some of them get the chlamydia, and they don't ever see women. The female them is have chlamydia and gonorrhea, and they don't even know that they have them for months and don't have no symptoms. No.
Yes.
The men them will catch it, they'll have little symptoms and everything, but the woman them they pass it on and pass it on and pass it on and pass it on and pass it on. You know what I mean? But Professor, I ain't gonna feel bad. I catch gonorrhea before.
Yes.
I catch it before.
Mm-hmm.
My good friend doctor, he catch it before doing college. Young,
Yes.
and the thing with Professor, the girls them you look at the woman them, nice clean. You tell them you think they healthy, man, Professor. they get on the most expensive cologne and everything and all, Professor, and you would never think you could catch it. See, from I catch it, Professor, I look at every woman. I don't care what you riding, what you get, whatever. I look at every woman have that disease.
Yeah.
They'll have to. If I have to go out with them now with sleep, then you have to go to the doctor. Say if I have to,
Take a test.
if
Yeah,
we going to
test it.
take a test together, I don't mind paying for that.
Yep. Yep. You said the right
You
thing.
know?
Go get tested. You're going in a relationship, new relationship, go get tested.
Boy, but after there's a serious thing. That thing that don't play. When you get that, you got to go to the doctor and take the needle and thing. You
All them
can't.
lip-
You can't go run wrong and talk about you're going to eat and go and take
No,
bush and things.
all them pearls
And
on
that
your
mess
mouth.
up whole family. Why do you think a lot of marriages and a lot of
Mhm.
things get messed up? Because the gentlemen, the men, them go there and sleep out. The woman go and sleep out. But these young men, them, they know they married. They catch going around committee and bring it back home.
You see?
The father never sleep. He never went out to sleep with a woman. So how you get it?
Yeah, that's
The same
correct.
as the woman. You know what I mean? But we got to wake up in this country. But that's why I say now the small things with hurting us.
Yes,
Yeah,
What's going on
I'm
with
glad
the
you
problems.
you're bringing it out because we need to discuss these things. Now, I'm going to tell you about my upbringing because see, mommy and daddy were very strong on discipline. And I'm going to tell Brother Brown now,
Yes,
when
sir.
I hear people saying some things, I had been shielded
From that.
by my mother and father. And when I tell them I don't know about certain things, they feel as if say, where have you been? Well, I said, I know I had strong parenting. I always knew mommy and daddy from birth.
Mhm.
They were very strong. They're very disciplined. They wouldn't let you bring nothing in that house.
Mhm.
They have to know who your friends are.
Mhm.
They wouldn't let you go nowhere unless they gave their approval.
Mhm.
They ain't give no approval, you stay in the house. That's it. No toy gun. Daddy wouldn't let us have no toy gun.
A toy
I say
gun.
no.
A toy gun is not a toy gun. It's actually a real gun. So
They
if you
got
give
real
it,
guns
so if you
now.
give a kid a toy gun, there's no difference than you get. It's just like you're giving them a real
real
gun
gun.
because they say they're gonna point at somebody, and what that's
Yes.
the tension is already there. So it's actually a real gun.
It's a real gun. So my father never would allow us to have any gun. No
That's why
toy
you
gun
understand
whatsoever.
that. That's why you understand that.
You see, so we were shielded, and there were 12 of us in the house, 9 of his own, 6 boys, 3 girls, and 3
Mhm.
grandboys. And they sacrificed heavily for the 12 of us,
You answer the question for the nation.
shielding us and protecting us. They took a lot of heat for us.
You had an answer. You just gave the answer to the country's problem just now. You know what your mom and dad did. They shielded you
Shielded
guns.
us. And that's why some things, when I hear people
And they-
say some things today, I am sort of surprised at it because I was not aware, like how he said, and I know he called my show before, and he said some things to me.
Yes, sir.
And now you're talking about the little children
Yes.
doing some
Yes.
off the wall things in
Yes.
abandoned buildings, man.
Yes. That's what's going on in the abandoned buildings.
These little children, 8, 9.
Mm-hmm.
Where's mommy? Where's daddy?
Where they is? The guy
Mommy
that's
and
told
daddy
you
somewhere else.
35, 40 years of age. They separated. The mom is probably to work or whatever. The daddy is where you see me or whenever you see me. And the kids are roaming the streets.
Yeah,
And
they
if
are.
there's no community leaders, no positive programs in this area, no monitoring going on in these areas, we left. We finished.
I'm glad you mentioned the
We
lack
finished.
of community leadership
We finished. We
on
finished.
the ground because it is very, very serious.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm saying to the people, that's why I invite you to come on this show.
Yes,
And I'm
sir.
appealing to the Bahamian people.
Mhm.
We've got to do something about the fact that we have over 100 murders
Mm-hmm.
every year. And as Brother Brown said, it's more than that.
It's more than that.
What about those other people who were
Who got
shot
shot and died a couple
and
months
died
later
a couple
or a year
months later or 1 or 2 years later?
Yeah.
We don't count that as a
Please
murder.
hang up and
So we are having a lot of other things happening to this society where people are sick for a long period of time. All this is going to have impact on national insurance, you know.
Mhm.
And so the man can say,
We ain't had
Ain't
no
got no
money.
more money
We
to
ain't had
pay.
no money that a couple of months ago.
yes.
We ain't had no money.
So, I mean, where we going with this? Payments, you got to see the long-range repercussions that are happening to the country. The country is sick.
Yeah.
You heard what the gentleman said about chlamydia and all these
Mhm.
sexually
And he
transmitted
did a good job.
diseases where the people, they want no condom.
Mm-mm.
They ain't checking for no condom.
What you going condom for if you don't get an education? No one is teaching you in school. No one is teaching you in the community. No one is teaching you in the church. So it's like nobody is there. So the nation, so you had good guidance, Mr. Thompson, when you spoke.
But I am very grateful for my mother. And
You should
father.
be.
Very, very grateful. And I feel so saddened when I hear some terrible things happening for other young people in this country
Mhm.
who didn't have the guidance of mother and father. Or someone, if mother and father were not there, some other responsible adult was there. We were brought up in an environment where male leadership, very strong
Yes.
male leadership. The women were there now. It's not that we displaced the women. The women played a role,
Mhm.
but the men, everywhere you went, to school, men in charge, church, men in charge, community, men in charge. I mean, everywhere you look, with the male leadership was very strong in my day.
I was afraid of my uncle. You see that? I was afraid of
Yes.
my uncle. I was afraid of my uncle. As much foolish as I was doing, I was afraid of my uncle.
Yes, and they would not tolerate any
Any
foolishness
foolishness.
and nonsense.
Okay.
And my mother and father made sure of that. You could not even say anything against an elder. They tell you, shut up.
Nowadays, me and you talking, and a young guy, a
Come
young
right in.
kid come right there.
Interrupt
Listen,
the conversation.
Kid, Thompson, you give me $1, please? Thompson, you give me $1? Not. Good afternoon, Mr. Thompson.
Not
Good
after-
afternoon, sir.
not-
You give me
not like
$1?
Yeah.
Give me $1.
Yeah, that is the way things have deteriorated so badly in the communities.
Mhm.
And I fear for the little children, and I see them from time to time, and I have conversations
Yes,
with
sir.
the mothers and fathers. But then the point is, Bahamians, we have got to do more than what is happening now,
Yes, sir.
because it is very serious. And I need more people to call in like they're calling.
Yeah.
So I can give me some understanding of what's going on the ground.
Mhm.
Because like I said, in my lifetime, I was shielded, very much shielded and protected by my own mother and father. Maybe they were overprotective.
Yes.
But the point is, it was good for us.
And it's still in you.
And still in me,
And it's
yes.
still in you. And you pass it on
I'm
to
passing
your
it on
children
to
and
the
to your
children.
grandchildren.
Great grand and all.
And great. See that?
So I'm saying that we have to pass it on to them, because I don't want to see anything untoward happen to them. Even the way I was brought up, I want to see good for them as well.
And if we want to see the country get back itself, we
Get
have to get
back
back to
itself,
family,
yes.
family
Family.
value, and family
Father and
cause.
mother
Yes.
involved
Yes.
in the welfare of their children.
Because I just want not to interrupt you. You talked about Adam. Remember, the Father brought Jesus Christ into the world,
Yes.
Yeshua, and he came in with Mary and Joseph. John the
That's right.
Baptist. I want you to listen. People tell me, that not because you don't have a mother and father, that don't have nothing to do with your trajectory in life. I will agree, but the greatest set of leaders in the world, God wasn't stupid enough to put them on this earth with all this hell and crime going on, to put the Savior or John the Baptist here if they didn't have good parents. Because
Yeah, the parents play a vital
what
role.
what if Christ had come in the hands of a mother and father who was a Walker family? He was born into a decent family with family values like
Of
you,
course.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
You understand what I said?
Yes.
So for the rest of the kids born today without a mother or a father with a decent family structure, and if the community continue the way it is without the resources, then all those kids born at an early age, it's going to turn out with this 100 murders, high child abuse cases we see every year,
Yes.
and then we're going to repeat this just like
It's
that.
keep repeating
That's
itself.
what is happening.
Yeah, and you see, that is not good for the country, because we're losing a whole lot of people. A lot of people are going to be sick, and it's going to put a burden on the country as a whole. And then all of us are going to be affected in one way or the other.
Yes,
So
sir.
Bahamians, it is most important. And that is why I am prepared to listen. I am prepared
Yes.
to come to understand what other people are going through in their local
Yes.
communities where they live. Because we have all kind of strange things happening
All right.
in the country. Now, you got some people now, they ain't know who's male and who's female.
The trying. We were
Now, the thing is, when you look into the scripture, God said thousands of years ago,
Mhm.
the man is to not put on clothing pertaining to the female,
Mhm.
and the woman is not to put on clothing pertaining to the man.
Mhm.
I remember the first time I heard about this unisex, where both the male and the female were dressed up identically, and it was kind of a little difficult for me
To comprehend.
to comprehend and understand what the heck is going
You
on
believe
here.
in the next world?
You see somebody, and you ain't sure, Brother Brown. I mean, they
You
laugh.
gotta confuse. You gotta
But
confuse.
it got me
You
confused.
gotta confuse.
I wasn't sure who was who.
Yeah.
But they had on the same clothing.
Okay.
I couldn't tell, well, which one is male, which one is female. Now, you got some other strange things happening today where all kind of funny things happening.
What kind of funny? Like what Mr. Tom said.
The point is, you ain't know who is who, and that could cause problems.
So what you trying to say?
What I'm saying
I
is,
know. Go ahead.
we are mixed up in a society where not only is the man not wearing
The
the man's
pants.
clothing, the pants.
Mm.
Is he wearing something else? And then some other things are happening where you got this sex change
Uh-huh.
that's prevailing in the world
Mm.
now. Okay? So you got some strange things happening, and then people are now talking about they want their rights. They want their rights for this, rights for that. And so what you see happening now is you have more confusion. When I heard the Minister for National Security talk about artificial intelligence,
Mhm.
and he said, do not be quick to get involved in those things. Check the source, check the evidence to make sure you're not misled or deceived, because there are people trying to scam you and do all manner of things against you. They're not for your benefit. I heard the one with the Prime Minister
And Cynthia Mother Pratt, former
and Cynthia
Governor
Mother
General,
Pratt,
yes,
and they
Governor
said
General.
the governor of the bank,
Yes.
central bank. But the one I heard, what they said was the Prime Minister, I
Yeah.
knew right at a glance that
him.
wasn't him.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have this information. What about protection for broadcasters like myself? How are we to be protected against this kind of thing? It's something we need to think about,
Yes.
because when you start impersonating people, that could be very dangerous, extremely dangerous, and it gets into the hands of the wrong person. You can have serious repercussions,
Yes.
and you don't need that. So what is happening in society is drifting further and further into chaos.
Yes.
And it's going to take people who know better to try to bring about a different result. Because I want to live in a safe community.
Yes, sir.
I want to live in a safe society where people can get on well with each other. Yes, there will be challenges. Yes, there will be difficulties, but not these unnecessary things, man.
A lot of it can be avoided if you
Yeah,
did the right
it can
thing.
be. It
A
can
lot,
be
a lot, a
avoided.
lot.
And that's what I've noticed in society today. I said a lot of things that are happening to our people, what I call accidents, suicide. I'm speaking about suicide here, but we're going to get to that one, where a proliferate. And I used to always say on this radio station, Bahamians don't commit suicide. If you go to church and you believe in God, and I understood there was one particular person going to a particular church, I won't call the name of the church, although it's in the public domain. The point is, this individual committed suicide, and I understand from reliable sources that particular person was a member of that particular church. Now, I'm not blaming the church, so I don't want to call the name of the church. But something is wrong somewhere, because no one who got any knowledge of God would want to commit suicide. I don't care how tough a situation may be, and I've been through some rough times. But people are suicidal. We have, Brother Brown, I was shocked the other day when I hear some elderly people committing suicide
Yes, sir. A lot of people under a lot of pressure.
under enormous pressure.
They don't have no one to rely on or talk to,
And this is causing further problems.
Yes, sir.
You're losing your elderly people.
Yes.
You're losing your middle-aged people. You're using young
Yeah.
people.
These are the signs of the time now, and if you don't take notice, it could be a little too late for us.
It could be too late for us.
Yes.
Yeah, it certainly can
Yes.
be. The lines are open 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-0271. Bahamians, we need your participation. We need you to participate in this conversation, because not only do we have the conversation, but now we have to come up with some strategies on the ground, in the community where you live, where we can work closely together as communities to deal with this vexing problem of crime. Because we can't keep going on the way we're going. Too many lives are being lost. As the commissioner herself said, one life lost is too many. And so we have to understand that we have to be our brother's keeper. We have to help one another. Yes, you may have differences of opinion. That doesn't mean you got to kill somebody because you have a different opinion from them. In fact, that's how God made us anyhow.
Yes, sir.
We don't all think the same way.
No.
And I have to restrain myself a lot of times because I simply say people just don't know any better. And they don't.
They don't.
They don't know
They
better.
don't. They don't.
Yeah.
They
I
don't.
believe I hear the music in the background. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. My special guest, Brother Valentino Brown. He's talking about crime and he has a lot of information that he can help us with. The lines are open 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-0271. Bahamians, we've got to become involved where you are, right there where you are on that particular street, right there where you are in that local community, to eradicate, to bring things under control. That's the only way we're going to survive. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. We'll be back after the break.
Yeah, let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Yeah. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. As you heard the thing where they said speak your mind on this radio show and let your voice be heard. I think more of you need to do that, but then you need to back it up with action. And we're going to tell you some things how you can deal with that in that way. We have a caller on the line, I believe. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Mr. Thompson.
Yeah,
Mr. Brown.
Mr. Thompson, I'm sorry, I'm kind of my mind. Yeah, to
Yes,
you
ma'am.
and your guest, Valentino. I have a question for Valentino.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I used to live in Baintown some years ago in the 90s, and I know Baintown it's a part of the what they call those areas that
In the city.
run down. Yeah, in the city, exactly. So I know it used to be good back then in the days, but I want to know if you guys have, like, seeing that you're talking about crime and the young people and everything, do you guys have a survey, a poll, or what percentage of Bahamians that's doing this? And the reason I'm saying this is because me being Bahamian, and I know Bahamians, this type of culture is really not our culture. Are we being invaded by other cultures, and now we kind of lost because of other culture coming and all of this stuff that's happening, like with the crime, the killing and stuff? This, in my opinion, this is not Bahamian. And how many Bahamian children, or I don't know if I'm saying it correct, but the percentage or a poll, or you do some kind of survey on who these people is,
I understand.
or these children are. I'm gonna hang up and listen.
Wow. Want to answer, Mr. Thompson?
Yeah, Brother Brown.
Yes,
yeah.
Mom, you asked a very question. It's a very interesting question because
It's
a lot
very
of
much
people,
so, yeah.
a lot of people were saying the same thing, whether it's the Haitian population or it's the Bahamian population. You know, I'm a natural born Bahamian, and I myself was involved in violent crimes in the country. Along my past were Haitian nationals who got Bahamian citizenships, who were at that time also became leaders of various different street gangs in the country. So my answer to you, Mom, honestly, and speaking to you, you could be right on what you're saying when there's other cultures, but I think overall it's Bahamian and Haitian nationals who are
Yes.
both a part of this crime we're facing in the country that we're seeing today. You know, I think both nationalities, I think we have both lost our way here in the country, you know, because we have a lot of Bahamians who themselves were involved in a lot of serious crimes. You know, if we
Yes.
look at people in the past, we could look at guys like the late great Sean Isaac. We could look at the late, 90 Noahs.
And
You know, you could
yes.
go names and names of a lot of big time drug dealers
Right.
who themselves were Bahamians, and the list could go on and on and on. And so for us to say, you know, it's a Haitian problem, and they're causing the problem, I think it's a national problem. And I think us as Bahamian, we let it get to be a Haitian problem. Now it's coming back to hit us.
Yes.
So, Mom, you're correct. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just adding something to it.
No, I think she has asked a
Yes.
very good question,
Yes, that's
and I
very
think you answered it quite well, because basically, whoever comes into the country
Picks up
ought
our
to be
ways.
Bahamianized.
Fix up our ways.
Yeah, and so if we have bad characteristics and we let it flourish and grow, then of course it's going to take on a new life.
Yes.
With these new people coming in, see this
Yes.
is the way to behave. We're supposed to set the pattern, the
Example.
example. All right, and I think we're not doing that as strongly as we should. And so moving forward from today on with May the 14th, I think that we have to see how we have to give a self-examination. In other words, the hardest thing for a human being to do is admit error and change.
Yes.
Okay? So when you fail to admit error and you fail to change, you're going to continue going in the wrong direction.
slippery slope.
Since my conversion 54 years ago,
Yes, sir.
God doesn't force me to do anything,
Yes.
but I still have free moral agency.
Yes, sir.
But to say, you know something, I better listen to that man.
Yes.
I want eternal life.
Yes.
I want to die in the lake of fire.
Yes.
Jesus already died for me,
Right.
so I don't have to go through that. So why live a life that is so destructive, knowing that at the end result, the lake can be right there to burn you up? It just doesn't make any sense. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Thompson.
Hey, what's that? Hey, how you doing today?
I'm okay, sir. Good afternoon, School G.
Hey, you know, bless up,
Everything-
brother. Bless up, brother.
Everything cool, like?
Yeah, man, brother. Bless up, man.
Hey, my first thing, did they show us about crime, we said, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're talking about crime,
I got a
particularly
surprise.
murders now. We have murder at the top of the list.
I got a surprise, man. And it's ironic. I mean, when I found that at least it's money what the show's about, right? And
It's Antone.
could you believe
it's a
that a
precinct.
mother would name a child crying?
Wait, now, hold on.
yeah.
What did you say? Say that again,
Right.
caller.
A mother name a baby crying. Hello?
She named the child Crime.
Crime. Do you think he's going to grow up to be a criminal?
She can have to change
That's a
her
good-
name.
You got a rhyme in it? That's a good
No, no.
rhyme.
No, I called it that.
Yeah, you understand? You say it's a good rhyme too, you see?
The
Yeah.
woman named a baby crying. And boy, anyhow.
I think
That's magic.
the registration will have to get it to
Yeah.
change that. Yeah.
Oh, legislation get that. That's what the boy named baby crying. Crime.
Wait a minute now. They that has been accepted?
What do you mean? This boy must be about 10, 11, 12, 13 now.
Boy.
Now wait a minute. Where did this happen? In the Bahamas?
In the Bahamas, and boy, I remember the man was doing bad. They used to beat that boy like, oh, he used to do such as.
So they named the child.
Crime. Crime. All caps. Crime.
So
The
that's,
first time I'm hearing that.
so that's the mindset of the mother.
I'm telling you.
That's
I'm
what
telling
the
you.
gentleman. That's
I
the
am telling
mindset.
you.
She rather name him crime. All this crime going on, so that's what she named him. So it's gonna
That's
take
the
some
daddy right
identity.
there.
Yeah,
The
that's-
mother and the daddy
that's
live
not-
together.
That should not be
Oh,
allowed
brother.
because
Oh, you
that's-
know. I mean,
that's
that's
you asking for problems.
So now you see.
That's the mindset. So I mean, like, what he's supposed to be when he grow up? He only could be
Yeah.
a criminal.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Only could be a criminal.
because that's what crime
And
represents.
that's a bad
The first time
they
I'm
put on the
hearing
young
about
man.
that.
They put a case on the young man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the case.
That is the
Yeah,
case.
that's
Yeah.
that has,
Hey,
that has to be
I
corrected.
got the solution for crime, man. The lady who called before I called, she had it spot on, man. See our problem in this country. We don't want to say what our problem is, because everybody wants that. Hush. Don't say nothing about the Haitian. The Haitian is our problem. The Haitian criminals are the criminals that's causing all the problem in this country. If they go home, they haven't got plenty job. Hello?
I'm
Hello?
listening. Go ahead, caller.
No, because I mean, honestly, man, and if you think I'm talking nonsense, right? Look at the mindset and the mentality of them when you go online and see what they do with each other in Haiti.
Yeah.
They don't love themselves.
Yes.
But you know what? People around say we hate Haitian. We don't hate Haitian. We love principle. We hate foolishness. We don't appreciate our government and whoever else colluding with this nonsense of Haitianites in this country. Haitians, man, hold on, Haiti's a nice place, right? But they break it up. They destroy their country. And they all over our place. Oh, feel sorry for us. They need to go fix their country.
Yes, I agree.
They're not stupid. They need to go. All need to go home. All Haitians need to go home. And you know, it's like, oh, someone hate us. Principle. Yeah, no, but every country they in, then they just go home and fix. It is the first independent. It is some free slaves, okay? And
But
for what?
that's-
I mean, 2025. This nonsense Haitian. Haitian them need to stop. They fool just voodoo what they did on it with us, because they want this better paradise we got here, but they need to go home. Our government need to be serious, Hey, Mr. Thompson,
Yes, sir.
you realize that the Kenya mission in Haiti is basically failed. Only look like only
okay.
one set of people. Only one set of people can deal with them, Cause they bad man. They bad man. They do it. They burn and kill and they wicked people, huh? But you know what?
Okay.
You see, what Mr. Trump, he allowed the Houthis to go do what they got to do.
I heard a comment he made about the Houthis. Yes.
No. The Houthis
Yes.
don't play. The Africans, the Kenyans need to get out there and let the Houthis go in Haiti and straighten their problem, Because Haitians right there with a barbecue and all these gang. Oh, we can't go home because they killing this and that. It's a setup, Mr. Thompson. This whole thing is intentional. Them people ain't scared of no barbecue. The whole thing is a setup. And we right there taking these people in and think like, oh, our brothers and sisters. Pure nonsense, man. We need to stop this crime. Send all them Haitian people back where they belong. Fix their country. Our country needs to fix. When we have our problem with crime, you hear any Haitian call them saying, oh, well, this is the solution. They don't have no solution. Look, you check it out. You see it, right?
I'm listening.
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
No solution. They are the problem. They need to go home. All their children, all their even grandma around. All them on the side of the road, who is selling this, selling that, and the government passing by don't and go. I mean, hold on. You need business license to operate business on the side of the road, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
They
And
got
they
they
don't have
operating
any.
in the middle of the road on the white line and things, and law enforcement pass up and down and things. They ain't see nothing. But let that be a behavior.
It's a different story.
You
I've
know,
seen
it's
that,
nonsense,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, that is correct.
The crime is with this country. I mean, he hate no Haitian. You know, Haitians, all Haitians need to go home. All. I mean, because you know, barbecue don't want no other national in the country. What they call them? Invaders. Okay.
Yes.
Haitians know what time it is, man. They ain't mean or nothing, but they need to go home.
Okay. All right, caller. Well, I
Well, he
appreciate
gives a-
your
he give a-
contribution.
You give a mouthful.
And thank you very much.
Yeah,
Brother
man. Yeah,
Brown.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people are frustrated, you know, about Haitian nationals in our country and stuff like that, you know. But the sad reality of this, they ain't going nowhere no time soon. They have been here for 50 something years or 100 years with Mr. Thompson, or I can see they migrated in our policing system, they migrated in our immigration system, they migrated in our defense force system, our politician system. So you don't know who's who in the country. But what we can do, we can stop the influx from coming in because those are undisciplined. They don't know the customs and value of our country. You talked about it earlier.
Yes.
We as Bahamians supposed to set the standard,
That's right.
knowing that we are a Christian nation, knowing that we're supposed to be a non-violent nation, knowing that we are brother's keeper, and you know
Yes.
we're supposed to uplift.
Mhm.
So that's the qualities we really are missing. We have to stop those sloops from coming in the country,
I agree.
and that's our biggest key. You understand, sir? Because to say right now to get rid of all Haitians in the country, that's not ever gonna happen. Because I live in the inner city, and everyone live in the inner city community, so and every day we have Mason Edition alone, Mr. Thompson, has many Haitian families from way back. How are we going to get rid of them? How are we going to get rid of them? How are we going to get rid of that in Grandstand? How are we going to get rid of that in Carmichael Road? How are we going to get rid of them? And they're in our systems. They are doctors, they are lawyers, they are politicians. So if you were there saying, you know, I agree with the caller, but I'm saying the challenges we face to eradicate the problem is impossible.
There is a case before the court now
The guy who live around by us.
in relation to citizenship,
Yes, sir.
where the government of the Bahamas is using the Nationality Act,
Mm-hmm.
which is a fraudulent piece of document,
Yes, sir.
to grant citizenship to persons who do not qualify for
To be citizenship.
Okay? In other words, here is something that is not constitutionally sound. The only way that to be corrected is for the court to make a judgment
And-
on it and enforce the judgment. If it goes all the way to the Privy Council, we know just what the ruling will be.
Yes, sir.
All of them will have to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of them.
Yes, sir.
Because the judgment will go down on them like a
I like
strong
that.
hammer,
I
right
like
on
that.
their head.
I like that.
That's what we need in this country. The government of the Bahamas is very complicit with what's going on right now.
Yes. Because they want votes.
Well,
Both
now,
parties want votes. The
yes.
FNM want votes and
and
the
the two of
PFP
them were
wants.
right there in Abaco looking for
Yes,
something.
and we see it just recently, Mr. Thompson. We and leaders saying you're a part of us because they know how many people they have given illegal passport out in the country who
Yes.
are not qualified.
Who do not
Because
qualify.
again, to the call who just called,
Yes.
you got to blame the powers to be, the politicians who are looking to gain votes, and they're the ones who give the citizenship without doing a background check. And these are things. What we need to do is put them before the courts. We need to put the people who in the passport office, who giving out these issues of passport, who sign on, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. We need to investigate them. Then
Yes.
every part of this, every part of that, this dissecting, who responsible, because if they get passport and you didn't go through the proper procedure, then wherever the document gets stamped, when you get interviewed, everyone should be questioned.
Yes.
And the Minister of Foreign Affairs. If we
course.
want to see change in the country, that's what we'd have to do.
Because you see, action had to be taken against the government. of the
Yes,
Bahamas.
it's the government. It's not the BM people who are doing this. We are not giving out the
These are
passport.
These are the ones who have been given the power
Mhm.
to run the affairs of
Yes.
this country. And they're complicit in their behavior.
Yes.
They've not stopped yet,
No.
but they will be stopped.
Mm.
Because the thing is that
And that's treason.
This is why we have to get Bahamian people to understand the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Yes.
Anything that violates the Constitution is unlawful.
Yes.
It doesn't matter who says it.
Yes.
The Constitution is supreme, and it is very specific when it comes to citizenship.
Yes.
Citizenship is a prized possession. You don't give that out like giving out candy.
Wake your way up.
Okay?
Wake your way up to
It
get it.
doesn't work that way.
Yes.
You see, now if a person qualifies
And wake your
according
way
to
up.
constitutional
Yes.
law, I don't have a problem with that.
What you call it before you get your citizenship? But they give you some temporary, what do they call it?
I heard him talk about some other things, but the Constitution doesn't speak to that.
Okay.
You have some statute laws.
Yes,
as
sir.
long as the statute laws do not violate constitutional
Yes,
law,
sir.
fine.
Yes.
But the Constitution itself is extremely explicit
Yes.
when it comes to who qualifies as a citizen,
sir.
yes or no.
Yes, sir.
This administration is afraid to deal with any referendum.
You think they're going to deal with it now, getting close to the general election?
They ain't about it with it.
You don't hear coalition of independence, Lincoln Ben. You know he's talk hard against Haitian. You don't hear him speaking about it now. You don't hear you hear anyone speaking about it about
No.
the Haitian nationalists right now. A couple months ago, you were hearing all of these
I'm saying
people
all
talking
kinds of
about
things, yeah.
now it's getting close to the general election. If you want to win this general election, you better have some Haitian people on your side.
The point is, the register would be flawed because it has a lot of persons on it who do not qualify
Yes,
for
sir.
citizenship.
Yes, sir.
That is why we are anxious to see the court move on this
Mhm.
case. Because we are supposed to have a judiciary
Yes, sir.
that is independent of the government. Notice what I said. Supposed to have a judiciary that is independent of the government. Three branches of government: the judiciary, the legislative branch, and the executive branch of government.
Wow.
That's what the Constitution says. But we have had violations of that Constitution
By who? The politicians.
by the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Both PLP and FNM. Who we voting to protect us?
The very ones who were run. This is why I always stress it this way.
Yes, sir.
You have political parties. The Constitution allows for political parties. I don't have a problem with that. But you have to be careful of the persons you give governmental authority to. We haven't been careful with that. That's why we in the
Corruption
crap we in
stage.
now.
All this corruption.
huh?
All this corruption.
All kind of foolish things happening. And the Minister of Immigration sitting right there,
And what are you doing?
Okay? He has not yet done anything
Thing.
substantial to stop the massive flow.
And we walk around the streets early in the morning, 7 o'clock. Carmichael Road, East Street, all us park. I'm not against people, but the law is the law. And like the call state, you come here and you do yourself legally and you wake your way up to get your citizenship. But while you're here, you do all the proper procedure. For those coming on the sloops and coming in the country and walking the street, where is the immigration department? There are hundreds and hundreds of people who we never see before
That's right.
walking our streets right now.
That's right.
Okay, walking our streets. We don't know who they is, where they come from, but we know,
That's right.
like the caller who called it a few minutes ago.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
There's some reference to what he said.
No,
And
no,
when the lady talk about crime,
he's on target.
Mom, when you say that, just to remind, Mom, you was also right, because there are people who
That's
we don't know
correct.
walking around our streets right now could be responsible for some of the crime happening in the country now, but they're not registered. They don't have no passport. They don't have no identification, but they're here.
Nameless faces.
Nameless
people.
faces, people here in the country who, if the police were looking for them, they
You
can't,
can't
find them.
How you
And
find
I saw
them?
some of those pictures in the newspaper, and they have some pictures, but they don't have no names. Mom, you're correct. Mom, you're correct. You're correct. There are individuals who are in this country who have no status, who come on a sloop, and they could be for hire.
Yes. You
And
never know.
they're poor and desperate. So
Yes.
yeah, Mom.
And they're liable to do anything.
They're liable to do anything, just like how we are liable to do anything as Bahamians right now. That's why the most Bahamians right now, the most Bahamian young guys right now, their trade is selling drugs or to be a hitman.
That is terrible.
I talking about raw born Bahamian. I ain't talking about no Haitian. I'm talking about no Haitian. I'm talking about raw born Bahamians who went to school. I am a raw born Bahamian. All right.
Yes.
And I was in that state. And there were hundreds of other raw born Bahamians just like us right now going through the same thing of no opportunities right now.
Now that is a serious matter. Very, very serious.
I'm a raw born Bahamian.
in an environment where you have all this technology, all of this, because in my day, when I went to St. Augustine's College, the things they have up there now, we didn't have those things in that time.
Yes, sir.
But you have a situation where, with all this technology, you would have thought that we would be a better people,
Country.
a better country.
Yes, sir.
But it doesn't seem to be that
We
way.
getting what's
It's
up?
getting worse.
Getting what's up?
Huh?
What's up?
So these are the sort of things we have to look at and see what's going on, because
Some things are getting better.
yes,
The rich are getting rich. The
but
politicians,
now that's
they're getting better. They're getting better.
yeah.
Because we just saw a memo of the PLP who would not be rerunning for re-election.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who he is. I don't know. He gets some type of thing in the end. He said that he would look in to step down in politics 5 and he's going to be the
Yes,
next
and
prime
I-
minister.
Yeah, I heard that.
This
Yeah.
something twisted this man head. I don't know who he is. I never where he come from. He's in politics.
Yeah, he is.
I never.
Yeah,
This
he
the first time I. This the first time I ever
Yeah,
heard
but,
of.
but plenty of them who sit in there. This is the first time they're coming out.
Yeah, this is the first time I ever heard about this
Was it
guy.
heard?
Next,
Was
to
there
him, next
anything?
prime minister. Where he
He's the
been?
next
So
prime
what he been
minister.
doing all this time for him
All
to
this
even be
time.
considered the be talking about
'Cause
being
he-
prime
he-
minister?
But he is a member of the House of Assembly now.
But so that's the first time I ever heard of
It's
him.
right. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. See plenty of them in there. The man is so green.
It's
He does not understand the
nothing for the
Constitution.
country.
Nothing.
So what he's gonna do for us if he get there?
That's a good question.
And I remember we had a doctor who was the head of the country, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't do nothing for the Princess Margaret Hospital, nothing for the Beeman people.
Yeah.
And he was a doctor. All the nurses and doctors who supported them was assuming that Dr. Minnis, former Prime Minister Dr. Minnis, would
They
make.
expected him to do better.
Because he's a doctor.
Yes.
And the guy, he do crap to the hospital. All they said $10 million where the drugs come missing, no dialysis machine. When you listen to the dialysis
And that's the
machine
major
someplace
problem.
else, the one private for him.
Yeah,
What kind of crap this is?
that's what you have.
And that's why I judge Minnis. He's a good member of parliament for his constituency, no doubt about it. But being the prime minister,
What major problems did he solve in his constituency?
must he? I know, collecting the garbage, which it is already clean up there, and probably during a basketball tournament.
What benefits are the people in Kalani getting now as of any major constituency problems that he's been solved?
I know. 2 game bobo coming over to bring selfish. I know they live close there to Kalani.
I got to stop now because I got music in the background. The man tells me I got to get off this radio station. Thank you, Brother Brown, for coming.
my
We
pleasure, it's
appreciate
my
you.
pleasure.
We appreciate you a lot. We got to have you come back
Well, it's always a
sometime.
pleasure to come
There's
on.
plenty other things. Plenty other
things.
things I ain't talked to you yet.
Yes,
You know.
sir, yes, sir.
I ain't talking about the suicide thing.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
That's precious.
This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson. We had as our special guest Brother Valentino Brown from the inner city, and we're grateful that he came here to talk about crime. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Bahamians, pray for the safety of this country. Ask God to help our leaders. Ask God to help us so we can have a better country. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. Have a pleasant afternoon.